In this video, we will look at another way of making selections in Photoshop called the Quick Mask mode. In the Quick Mask mode, you are basically painting your selection. And this way of selecting is really suited to subjects where you have lots of intricate details. So for example, if we wanted to select this camera, which is overlapped by many other objects. Before we start, let's double click on this icon and let's change this default setting from color indicates masked areas to color indicates selected areas because I think this works better. You can also enter and exit the quick mask mode by pressing the Q on the keyboard. So you'll see that when I press Q, the background layer turns red and here it says quick mask. So I can zoom in like this and then use the brush tool and start painting. So we said that the color indicates the selected areas, so whatever I paint in will be selected. Okay, so now I can zoom in, maybe like this. Maybe we don't need to select this bit, the strap ring, so let's paint like this. And then I will go around and select the outline of this camera. I think my computer is running a little bit slower because I am also recording a video. Like this. So this is a very precise way of making selections, but it can be time consuming. Okay, so I think I made a little bit of a mistake there. So if I press and hold the tilde key, this will temporarily switch to the eraser, and then I can erase these little bits. Okay, so I'm going to paint in the rest of this selection. Okay, now that I selected the outline of this object, I would need to paint in the inside of the selection too, but I think there is a quick way of doing this. So if you switch to the magic wand tool, which is the tool that we haven't used so far, and you click outside of your selection like this, and then invert this selection by going Command Shift I, and then we can use the brush tool and select a big brush like this, and then just quickly paint over what we have selected like this. Like that. So Command D to deselect, and then press Q to exit the quick mask mode. Now we can maybe use a curves adjustment layer just to make some adjustment like this. And there is another adjustment layer that we haven't used so far, which is the color balance adjustment layer. So we could try maybe to copy the mask from the curves. Option, click and drag like this. And then maybe we can change the color a little bit. Like this. As an example. I also like the quick mask mode when combined with other ways of making selections. So for example, in the previous video, we were using the color range to make a selection. So let's say that we try to select these dried flowers like this, but if we start pushing the fuzziness too far, very soon we will select the stems as well. So maybe we can just make a selection like this, making sure we don't select any stems. Click OK, and I can now enter the quick mask mode, zoom in, take the brush tool, and then tidy up these areas that haven't been selected. Okay, so this took me a bit of time, but I definitely find this to be the case in Photoshop sometimes. If you want to make good selections, you really have to take your time. Now I can exit the quick mask by pressing the Q, and then I can go to the adjustments, color balance, and then maybe I can try to change the color of these dried flowers. So maybe something like this. Like that. And here's another example of the case where you can use the quick mask mode to select some really intricate details. So for example, the cables of this Ferris wheel are getting slightly lost against the sky here. So if we zoom in like this, and then go into the quick mask mode and use the brush tool, B, and use a very, very fine brush like this. So I can click on one end and then shift click again like this. And then do the same for this. So click once and then shift click on the other end. This and this. etc. So we would go and maybe select all the cables that are not clearly visible, exit the quick mask mode, and then maybe make an adjustment layer curves, and then lighten them like this.